And the last set of notes, yay, 5-5, Electron Transport System. So we left off with the Krebs cycle, giving us lots of FADH2s and NADHs and lots of CO2. So let's see where that happens. So the Electron Transport System uses high energy electrons from the Krebs cycle, because remember there's some there, some there, and some there, and some ATP over there. So we're going to use all those guys to convert ADP into ATP. You're going to notice that this looks incredibly similar to the electron transport chain and the light reaction in photosynthesis. That's because it pretty much is. So here's what's going to happen. The first thing is our boats. Remember, NADH and FADH2. Those are our full boats. They're going to come along, so they're right there, and they're going to dump off electrons. Dump electrons. There's electrons right there and right there. So they're going to go dump off their electrons and hydrogen ions, and they're going to dump off both of those guys to the inner mitochondrial membrane. So if here's my mitochondria, and the inside of the mitochondria kind of looks like this, so they're dumping it off onto that inner lining. And what that does is it restores NAD plus and FAD, which is going to go back to, take a wild guess, the Krebs cycle. Okay, so what am I doing with these electrons? Well, the electrons are being passed along the electron transport chain, just like before. Well, what did it do before? It provided energy to take hydrogen ions and squirt them through to the other side. So these are little channel proteins, proton pumps, and they're squirting hydrogen ions through to the other side. Why? To build up a gradient, because I need lots of hydrogens over here, so they'll be forced through ATP synthase later. So I got to shove them through active transport, shove them through to this side. And the energy comes from those electrons that our boats dropped off. Now, NAD plus and FAD are going to go back to the Krebs cycle, go pick up some more electrons. Okay, as the electrons are being passed through, like I just mentioned, that provides energy to shove hydrogen ions through to the other side. The other side is the space in between. So if here's my mitochondria, remember the Krebs cycle was going on here, so now we are, let me change colors, now we are here. So where are all those hydrogens going? In here. So this is filling up with hydrogen ions. Well, I can only hold so many before they're going to be forced back through the other side. So they're going to be forced through back to the inside of the matrix. So this is a matrix on this side. But when they get squirted through to the other side, we're going to use them. We're going to use them just like we did last time. That's going to provide, when the protons go through, that's going to provide energy to make ATP. Okay? So electrons get passed along the electron transport chain, providing energy to pump hydrogen ions through to the other side. So next thing that's going to happen is, just like before, we had someone to catch my electrons. Remember that was NADP plus was there to catch electrons. Well, this time we have oxygen. Oxygen is there to catch the electrons. So the oxygen is going to catch those electrons, and they're going to also snag a couple of hydrogen ions, and guess what they're going to turn back into? Water. So isn't that cool? Because water, if you remember, split into electrons, hydrogen ions, and oxygen last time. Well, now what are we doing? Well, we're just taking the electrons, the hydrogen ions, and the oxygen, and we're squishing them back into water. I think that's cool. So oxygen is there to be the electron catcher, and then he grabs onto some hydrogen ions, and the three of them together make water. And that's why we pee. It's because of the water that is produced in our mitochondria of all of our cells. And we drink a lot of water, that too. Okay, now what? Got all these hydrogen ions on the inner mitochondrial side, and they're going to go by diffusion through ATP synthase, which, if you remember, does a little spinny action, and that provides enough energy to take ADP and phosphate, glue them together to make ATP. So we get ATP. Not only do we get one ATP, but for every one glucose, so for every one sugar, we get 34 ATPs. And we eat lots of sugar, so we get lots of ATPs. So for the electron transport system, I need NADH and FADH2 because remember they have all my electrons. Oh, and I need some oxygen. That's why we breathe. What do I get out of it? I get NAD+, which is going to go back to the Krebs cycle. FAD, which is going to go back to the Krebs cycle. Water, which we pee out. And ATP, which keeps us alive by providing energy. Yay, ATP. So this is why we breathe. This is why you die when you don't breathe. If you hold your breath or your body doesn't get oxygen, your brain doesn't get oxygen, then we don't make any ATP. And if we use up all of our ATP, we die. Ain't that nice? Okay, so all together, glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport, makes up cellular respiration, which is what we do so we can stay alive. Why? Because it makes way more energy for us than glycolysis alone. Because remember, this makes 2 ATPs, this makes none, and this makes, actually no, I lied, it makes 2. And this one makes 34. So for a total of 38 per molecule of glucose. Not bad. Okay? So if we'd just done this, we'd be dead. If we do this, that's enough energy to keep us alive. Alright, so I believe that's it. You've done it all. You've learned everything there is to know from Chapter 8. Go back and study. Have a good day. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.